Desmin, Sophia Soto, Nerds of Color. Pleasure to speak with both of you today. Thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here with us.
Of course. And so I want to start off with a fun question. If you both could time travel to one event or to meet one person in either the past or the future, what would you choose and why?
That's very specific. I'm like, I'm ready for this. Oh, wait, I don't.
Well,
event or person?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Des, you go for it. Let me think about this.
All right. Well, because we've been asked this, and I've been just letting the question in the moment kind of dictate me. And but I've thought about it now, and I'm gonna go back to being the moment where the Jackson 5 realized they were the Jackson 5, like in the living room in Gary, Indiana. Michael got up there, started singing a little bit, and then Tito was like, what? And then started and Jermaine, Marlon just doing their thing. And I just think that would be like a really beautiful familial sort of moment that like sort of, I don't know, music Perfect. And life sort of exploded out of. So there we go.
Perfect.
I'm gonna be inspired by because I love that because you completely caught me off guard, and I'm like, I've been saying like more non-specific things, and this might be a little silly, but my favorite performance ever for J-Lo is when she did a tribute to Celia Cruz, and anytime that I feel down, you better believe I'm on YouTube. Like, girl, give me the shakes, give me the hair, give me the makeup, give me the Celia. And like, if I could be there, because I can, like, the things that I feel like just on YouTube, just like me dancing, I cannot like imagine being there, because I think that was such an incredible tribute for like our culture, and like it's one of those things. So I would definitely go back there, be front and center, seeing the shimmy for sure.
You totally both nailed it. Perfect answers, guys. And so I also wanted to ask you, were there any challenges when it came to playing these characters that made them stand out compared to past roles you've done?
Well, we had a really technically challenging moment our very first time on set. We started shooting the dinner scene in episode 4, and because of the nature of having 2 Henrys there, we had to sort of shoot from one angle one day, stay in that same world, shooting that same side, and then Theo would switch. He would play 42 one day and then 28 the next day. And as an actor, you very rarely get the opportunity to have ideas about scenes and then come back the next day and see if they actually work. And I would say 90% of the time, the new ideas I had didn't fit, which was nice that we got to explore it. But then we got back to kind of what was working. And I found that to be lovely and challenging all at the same time, because then you had to sort of sustain it for 9 days after that, after you found what was working and how to keep bubbling what was bubbling, continuing to bubble, if that makes any sense.
That sounds really cool to shoot, though, honestly.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like because the show is not in order, which is what makes it so incredibly thrilling to watch, I found myself a lot of times like, wait, where are we? What are we doing? Which Henry is this? So I feel like that was complex at times, but it was more fun than complex. Like, who do I have here today? Who do I have here? Like, what are we doing? And then it was the first thing that we shot. We're 8 or 9 days, same hair, same makeup, same table, just different Henrys and then different close-ups. So it was really fun to just be like, huh? Especially in rehearsal, I was lost. I was like, hello, like which one's talking to me right now? And so I was like so blessed that we got rehearsal and then, hopefully got it together when we were shooting. But it is complex, but it's so fun. And you always have the director like, what's going on here? Okay, cool. Great, action. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
Here we go. And there's so many dynamics on the show that were enjoyable for me as a viewer to watch. So I was curious, was there a specific relationship that was best for you to perform, that you enjoyed the most, that you were most excited to see in the final product?
I mean, I feel like I've been saying this, but I'll jump from like one relationship to the next as my
Yeah.
favorite. So you could like break it down by episode and like by scene. But you know, obviously Claire and Henry are, you know, they're the main love story, and they're what keeps us going and what keeps this foursome like, you know, intact. But there are certain moments like I could really grab onto what Claire and Charisse have, and like
Yeah.
those moments of friendship, and I love when they get explorative in their friendship. um and it's just like no matter what happens, they're ride or die for each other. And I think that that's so beautiful, and I love to see not just people being in love in a romantic intimate kind of way, but just like these relationships that make you, that shape you. And I feel the same with like the bromance that um Gomez and Henry cultivate throughout the years. And it's like those scenes, I'm going to be like so excited to just sit there and be like, okay, what conversations are we having now? And because of the time travel, you get to see them like not really like each other at the beginning, and then like how that evolves. So I feel like I can't pick one. Nope, can't do it.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Totally valid. There you go. What about you, Desmond?
Well, I would say being in them, they're all just so like beautiful and specific individually. So like being in, you know, when we're in twosomes together, like you really get to fall into that space and that world with that person. So like each one of them are or were highly enjoyable to work in. I would say the one that likes, you know, is kind of like a standout for me is because of how much ground we gained is between Henry and Gomez. From where we start, that sort of, you know, not liking each other, two alphas sort of colliding at the beginning to later figuring out that like they love each other more than they thought that was evenly humanly possible is a real beautiful journey to kind of be able to find yourself in and watch. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm anxiously waiting, but I remember when we were shooting those scenes just kind of feeling the give and take between Theo and I. There were moments where we both looked at each other and we were just surprised at what happened. And whenever that happens on set, you know there's some real good shit happening. So like I'm excited to see, you know, how they edit it together and ultimately, you know, like what it becomes. But
it's fantastic. I've seen it.
Oh,
I can tell you it's fantastic.
Appreciate it.
Of course. And lastly, I want to ask, when you look back at the experience, do you have a favorite memory with each other?
Oh,
That's so sweet.
I have to give you a sentimental question, guys.
I feel like that because we shot in like the midst of COVID, it was a bit complicated for us when we're not filming, because you know you put your visor, you put your mask on, nobody's allowed to eat together. Although you know we're not going to talk about that. But so I feel like those moments for me, maybe there's not one specifically, but it was the times that we actually got to spend some time outside of our characters, because it's such a complex time with COVID that you can't really have those you know, those moments. But there was a time where we did go and have dinner together, and it was just I was just like soaking it, like we're out, come on, you know. And that was like towards, you know, the end of filming, and that was like a really nice time, I think, specifically for me to humanize David Nutter, because you think about like the David Nutter and the director, and he was just sitting across, like, you know, talking about his life and what he does, and he's like, what about you? What, you know, I remember he goes, so what was your big break? And I was like, you gave it to me like just now. And he was like, oh, no idea. All right, do you want some bread? I was like,
oh, it's so sweet.
Like, so those little moments, you know.
Totally, that's so sweet.
This one moment where we open the door when Chelsea and Rose are having their standoff and she's pouring them wine and we pop our head in. It just felt like that. I don't know what it was about that day with us shooting, but it felt like whatever like was starting to click, like really cemented itself. And we got to have like such great fun with each other of being like this sort of sort of goofy moment of like popping your head in and then inserting yourself into the scene. And we had those little troll dolls behind us going up the side of the wall. And we had conversations about how one of them was like extremely racist. Like, why did they even make a troll doll that looked like that? Because obviously that's a stereotype. And I felt like those are like the moments that you would normally get in a non-COVID atmosphere that we weren't necessarily given the luxury of, that we found. And that one really stands out to me as sort of like the moment where like Natasha and Desmin like really bonded. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you both so much again for taking the time. Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you.
The activists, directors, comments and the lectures, fanboys, professional artists and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see me. The hard knock life, comics, movies and TV. Yeah, pop culture with a different perspective. Watch it on your screen, hit play, so check this.